Hello, everyone. My name is Eli Sherman with WPRI. Today, I'm joined by a special guest, WPRI's political analyst, Joe Flemming, who is here to talk about the Rhode Island 1st Congressional District race. The candidates in this race are the incumbent, Congressman David Cicilline, who is facing two independents, Jeffrey Lemire of Providence, and Fred Wysocki of Woonsocket. And Joe, can you tell us a little bit about what voters should be expecting out of this race leading up to we're about 2 weeks out at this point?
Well, it's a race that's very low key at this point, Eli. Neither of the challengers of David Cicilline has much money at all. Neither one of them has very little name recognition. So I don't think the voters really have a clear picture of who's challenging the congressman at this point. So it's a very low key race. I don't expect any excitement in the next 15 days out of this race unless something drastic happens. I think David Cicilline is going to go on campaigning. The 1st Congressional District was a very strong Democratic district. His first 2 times out, David Cicilline had 2 serious challenges, and he beat back both of them. Since then, his challenges have not been as strong, and this time the Republican Party has put nobody up. I think they realized it's such a strong Democratic district, they didn't even front a candidate to run. So the 2 independents running against David Cicilline at this time are lacking resources to become well known in the district.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you about that, Joe. When the Republican Party doesn't even put up a viable candidate or someone that they think could at least give the congressman a run for his money, what does that tell you about his placement in that district?
Well, I think he's getting pretty solid at this point for the simple reason. The first 2 times he ran against John Laughlin and Brendan Doherty, 2 strong Republicans, and people felt both of them had a very legitimate chance of winning that race. And in the end, David Cicilline won both races. Against Brendan Doherty, he ended up winning it by double digits when people thought Doherty was going to be able to win that race. So I think the Republicans at this point realize because the district tilts so heavily Democratic, especially with the city of Providence, Pawtucket, Central Falls, Woonsocket, strong Democratic communities, it's a very tough seat to win. And it'll be very tough if you put up a candidate to bring in outside money to help the race, to really get visibility for the Republican. So I think this year they decided that they were going to spend more resources on trying to win General Assembly seats than try to pick up the 1st Congressional District, which is just so heavily Democratic.
And what can you tell me about the congressman's favorability over the years? This is obviously, what are we up to now in terms of terms?
Well, he first ran, if I remember correctly, in 2000, I think it's 2010, to succeed Patrick Kennedy.
Right, so this is now his 5th term.
This will be his 5th term, if I'm correct with the date. It was a 4-way Democratic primary that he won. But the thing is, when he first became a congressman, his job rating was fairly low. He had a lot of problems in Providence when he left. Voters gave him a very low job rating, but he was able to still win re-election because the district's so Democratic. Over the years, though, I've seen his job rating move up. Every year when I've done polling and stuff, I've seen David Cicilline's job rating moving more and more towards that 50% mark, where in the past he was down around 23% when he first became in Congress. So he's really moving in a positive direction. And I think the Republicans see that as one reason why it will be very difficult to beat him at this point.
And you've watched a lot of races over the years, obviously, and there have been long shot candidates who will try and pull something off in the last days of an election. What are you looking for from these 2 independent candidates and what can they do to even, try and move the dial a little bit in terms of convincing voters to support them?
Well, at this point, you're only 15 days out from the general election. It's really kind of late, especially if you have no name recognition. Neither one of these people have much name recognition at all. And I don't believe neither one of these people have much money. So it's going to be very hard to move the needle. I think what will happen is they'll pick up a lot of votes of people who just don't like David Cicilline and who will never vote for David Cicilline. So they'll get support from those types of people. But as far as getting themselves better known, they have to invest some money to get known. And at this point, we've seen no sign of that coming, no TV at this point. So, I mean, it's going to be very difficult for these 2 challengers to make some inroads.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Joe. For much more on this race, folks can visit WPRI or read the article underneath this video. For WPRI, I'm Eli Sherman.